A great morning to everyone. Myself, Tamosha Chakravarti, Assistant Professor, School of Social Sciences and Humanities, welcoming you all to the first session of third day of the Faculty Development Program. Our topic of today is outcome-based curriculum design and education. So, how to ensure mastery over not only knowledge but also over the knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed for the 21st century. And on the topic today, we have with us one of the most distinguished personalities from the academic world, an outstanding academician, Professor Dr. Rishipal ji. Sir is the Dean and Faculty of Pedagogy and Capacity Building from Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, Gurugram. Sir has more than 32 years of experience in academics, administration, management, research, training, and development. Sir has also worked as Controller of Examinations, Dean Humanities and Applied Sciences, and Dean WIT Campus. Sir also associated as visiting professor with different universities, technical and management institutions, and industrial organizations. Dr. Rishipalji sir has authored 9 books and written number of chapters and articles, published more than 40 research papers and presented more than 120 research papers. Sir is also impaneled as a resource person by the government organizations like UGC, CBAC, AICT, and etc. Sir, I extend my warm welcome to you on behalf of entire Home Sterling Global University. It is our honor to have you with us today. May I please request you to address our participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chakraborty, and thanks for your warm welcome and yes, giving me opportunity to interact with the participants. I do not know how many participants are there, and what is my target group to which I am addressing. So, if you can give a brief that what level or from which different institution or from which different disciplines participants are, so that accordingly I can deliver my talk.
Sir, the program is live streaming on YouTube on OSU Hisar, our own university, our own YouTube channel. It's live. So people from different uh, field and different genres, from every field, I must say, and
Right,
well, yes,
right,
people will
right.
people are
Now it's
joining
clear
us.
to me,
Yes,
and I am
yes,
starting
yes.
my
Please,
deliverance,
yes,
and for
sure,
that,
sir. Please, sir.
yes, my screen I want to share. How I can share my screen?
Sir, there's an option just beside camera
Yes, there is one
and
option.
mic,
It is
camera
share.
slash mic. There is
When I
option.
am clicking share, na,
Yes, yes, sir.
then
Yes.
share screen, screen sharing. Okay, share screen. Okay, but the particular slides which I want to share are not coming on the screen. So how to do that?
Sir, you can share entire screen. The option
Okay,
share
okay.
screen. You
Share
yes,
screen,
entire screen option. Choose, sir. Please.
share screen.
Yes.
Now it is shared, but what is shared there? Actually, my screen is visible.
Sir, it's visible, sir. It's
And
visible.
what is written? What is written on that?
The first slide, sir. Welcome, Professor Rishipal. You're addressing the
Right, right.
designation and
Thank you. Thank you.
all. Yes, it's visible, sir.
Actually, I want to run it jointly with my screen as well as with the screen available from this portal. So presently, how I am presenting that it is my presentation only. So how I can do that?
But you are visible too, sir. We are
Yes, I am
watching both your
visible.
presentation and you. Both are visible,
Now
sir.
is it visible?
The screen mirroring is happening, sir. It's called
Okay, okay,
mirroring.
okay,
It's happening,
okay, okay. And now it is.
sir. Now
Now the
it's
screen
fine.
is visible now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, and sorry for this unawareness about this technical process. And
Yes,
again,
screen is
uh,
visible.
I,
You
I
are also visible,
again,
sir. It's
I
proper.
again convey my thanks for giving me this opportunity. And as it was announced
My
that
pleasure, sir.
the topic specifically I will cover up is outcome-based education and continuous quality improvement. And in this, we will take up both the outcome based education as well as outcome based learning also. And before I start my presentation or I deliver on this topic, what we are going to cover up and what was need, why we are switching from output based traditional model to the outcome based learning model. And in that, there had been certain issues related to the higher education teaching and learning. And as a result of that, we could come up with the outcome based education. And from where initially it started, and then what was outcome based education and its implementation part, its characteristics, its operational model. Then, in the operational model, the most significant elements are program objectives, program outcomes, then learning outcomes, course outcomes. All we shall be covering up. But before that, let us talk about some important points in outcome based education. And the very first, actually, my interest was to make the session interacting by interacting directly to the participants. So, okay, no problem, because the possibility of direct participation of participant is not possible. So, first of all, understand outcome based education and why we are putting stress on the outcome. What is outcome? Right? So, if we see presently the status of professional excellence, professional skills, professional competency is really a difficult matter in India. And according to one of the study by Fiki, only 3 to 4% people, only 3 to 4% students who are passing out to various professional degrees are competent or skilled in performance of their job. Rest are having degrees in their hand, but they are not capable. Now, how we will understand that? We can understand that. You take a sample of any number of engineers which are passing out from different institutions, universities, or colleges, and test them for their competencies and abilities. They might be very knowledgeable, but from skill point of view, from their competency point of view, they are not that much able to perform on their profession. And as a result of that, there is a huge gap what industry is expecting and what qualified peoples are having. This is one. But there is paradox also in this field. And the paradox is that there are number of people, those who are well trained, but they do not have qualifications, they do not have degrees. So at one part, there is problem of unemployment in India. On other part, lot many people are wandering with very prestigious degrees in their hand. They could not fetch the employability, or placement. And it is bilateral crisis or problem or challenge for the nation. And when it was studied, it was found that this situation is because of the curriculum designing, pedagogical methods, assessment tools, and the process of present academic system, the present traditional academic system. In the present academic system, we are concerned about the output, not about the outcome. There is difference between output and outcome. Output may be anything. Outcome should be that for what we have run the training program. So outcome based education is an educational process to ensure that for what a training program, a professional degree was started, whether we could develop the professionals with competency or not. That is the very basic characteristic of outcome based education. And this outcome,
Sorry for interrupting, sir. So actually,
yes,
the screen is showing very small. So if you can make it to full screen, so it will be more visible to the audience, sir.
actually, I'm facing a problem. I want to continue it with my this screen and presentation simultaneously. But when I'm switching to my screen, then my screen is visible on that. So how I can overcome
Yes,
that
sir.
problem? How I can do that? Anyone there who can help me? If I am going for the full screen, then only the
Okay,
full
sir.
screen
Yes.
is visible.
Sir, it's fine now. Now the full screen is visible also, and you are quite also visible properly.
But from my side, only my full screen is visible. I cannot see what is happening on the portal. That is not possible. So what to do? Is there anyone who can help me?
Okay, sir. But you are also. So, sir, you just
Hmm?
continue. You just continue. I'm just checking on it.
Okay, okay, okay. So I was talking about that outcome-based education is an educational process, and how it is educational process I explained. And the second important point in outcome-based education is it is directed and focused on achieving certain specified outcomes. Certain specified outcomes. And this can be understood with the help of an example. Suppose you need a person who has to work as an electric engineer. So, for working as an electric engineer, what should this gentleman have on the conceptual part, on the skill part, and on the attitude part? Because each and every profession is consist of these three things. If I want to execute the profession, or if I want to practice the profession of engineer or a manager, I should have conceptual knowledge about management or engineering. I should have certain set of skills to practice as a management professional or as an engineer. similarly, a manager
Sir,
or an engineer. Yes,
sir, you
yes.
can be visible on the private chat option. The private chat option you will have on the right side of your screen.
Okay, okay. Let me check.
Yes, sir.
Private chat. Yes, I am using that, and
And
now
on the
my screen
comment
is my
section,
screen is not visible. Huh?
it's visible, sir, but it's mirroring. Sir, on the comment
How I
section.
can remove this mirroring? How I can remove this mirroring? What can should be done for that?
So for now, you need to stop presenting first.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will not get removed.
So I
On the comment section, you will see the comments of the audience on the comment
mm,
section, just beside
here
private chat.
someone has written good morning, sir. Here I'm sharing the process for screen sharing. First, click on the share button. Okay, I am actually once I am now stop screen. Okay,
So again, please share again.
share the screen, and now share. But my to me, so you can share the slide button. Okay. Now is it visible?
Sir, it's visible, but it looks
Again, the
smaller.
problem is same. Again, the problem is same. Okay, no problem. I will continue from there. It is not a problem. Right. So,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And sir, you can check on the comment section also from the audience.
okay. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Please
as I
continue.
was discussing that this outcome-based education is directed and focused at achieving certain specified outcomes in terms of individual student learning. And I was sharing that if we want to develop the professional as per industrial need, then there is need to focus on certain capabilities, and these capabilities are the conceptual capability, the skill capability, and the attitudes. So as per outcome based education, outcomes are the key capabilities and qualities, and these qualities should be ensured when someone a student is completing the professional degree. On the completion of professional degree, the student should be capable to do that. In other words, we can understand it, each and every job has got a set of job roles. Each and every job role has got a set of job roles. So any one of you can tell me what is job role? And I am on the chat screen. Any one of you can tell me what is job roles? What are job roles? What are job roles? What are job roles? Okay, I think no one is responding. Job roles are the set of responsibilities, tasks, assignments, activities necessary to perform a job. You take example of the job roles of air hostess. You take example of job roles
Sir,
of manager. You take example
sir,
of,
someone replied.
okay, okay, but it is not visible to me.
Sir, it said that job roles are performed by the
Hey, we
employees.
cannot interact directly. We cannot interact directly with the participants. What is problem in that? Hmm? What is problem in that?
So this, I think this is the way the app works.
Actually, nowadays, without interaction, how it is possible? Chalo, let us leave it. So, for the performance of any job,
Yes,
there
sir.
is need of certain job rules, and if a person is not capable to perform those job rules, and I was taking example that if someone want to work as an air hostess, someone want to work as an engineer or a police wala, then they need to accomplish certain set of duties, responsibilities, activities, assignments, tasks. If a person is not capable to do that, it means the outcome of program is not ensured. The program has not given those competencies for what it was designed. And this thing is happening everywhere in each and every field. It is happening everywhere. And because of that, the performance industry is not going to take the people. So on the conclusion of program or during the program, it should be ensured that whatever competencies are necessary to accomplish a job, it should be tested that person has become capable of doing that. This is outcome. Both structure and curricula are designed, and if we want to ensure the outcome based education, in that we need to restructure the curriculum, and we need to replan how the competencies and capabilities can be handled to the trainees, to the students, and how it can be done, what can be done with the curricula, we will discuss that. Then the last important point in outcome based education is educational structures and curriculums are regarded as means. They should be evaluated for continuous quality improvement. What does it mean? Present day is the day of change and advancement. Technology, processes, functions, activities, and everything is changing on daily basis. So whatever competencies I have acquired today would not be sufficient tomorrow. And if a person is associating with an organization, that is going to be a long process, and during that long process there will be need of continuous quality improvement. And this continuous quality improvement is possible when outcome will be decided regularly. So these were some of the important points, and without understanding these points it was not possible to understand the outcome based education. Now coming to the outcome based education, it is trying to achieve certain specified outcomes. Specified outcomes means if someone want to become a hairdresser, if someone want to become a chef, if someone want to become a manager, if someone want to become a pilot, for the performance of job of pilot, for the performance of job of chef, for the performance of job of a hairdresser, there is need that some specified outcomes should happen on during the conduction of the program as well as during learning of the student. If these outcomes will not happen, that means the student would not appropriately be trained and developed for the performance of profession. Thus, having decided what are key things students should understand and be able to do our qualities, they should develop both structure and curricula. So accordingly, structure and curricula should be designed. Now, the definition of outcome-based education. Outcome-based education is process that involves the restructuring of curriculum, assessment, and reporting practices in education to reflect the achievement of high-order learning and mastery. In output-based traditional program, the program is taught in the classrooms. Assessment is done by subjective testing manner, and specifically even skills are tested by the subjective testing, which does not ensure whether the candidate has got the skill or not. One of the very strange example I want to quote here. One of the power plant was started at Kheder, and two or three electric engineers were appointed for the operation of the power plant, and they were all qualified BTech with diploma in power plant engineering, as well as they have been having diploma in boiler operation. After 2 or 3 years of working of the power plant, suddenly there was problem with the boiler, and none of these electric engineers which were qualified could understand what was problem. Reason being, they have been having the theoretical knowledge, but they were not skilled to identify the problem. They were not skilled to manage the problem, and the result was there was blast in the boiler blast, and they could not understand how to repair it. And then the consultant or people from South India were managed, and this plant was repaired. What was problem in that? The people were having degrees, diplomas, and whatever qualification was necessary, but that qualification could not give them capabilities. And why this happened? This happened because our program curriculum was not designed as per need. And how it could have been designed? Or it is not only designing. Second, the delivery knowledge can be imparted in a specific manner, skill can be imparted in a different manner, attitude can be developed in some other way. So if you want to give knowledge to someone, the pedagogical method, the method of teaching and learning should be different. If you want to hand over a skill to someone, then the process of handing over or imparting skills should be different. If you want to modify the behavior or attitude of people, if I talk about attitude, why we are talking about attitude? Every profession has a typical set of attitude. You take example of a doctor, you take example of engineer, you take example of any profession. Every profession needs a typical attitude to practice it. And for having that attitude, there is need that this attitude should be handed over to the student. But during the training program, the very first, the curriculum is not designed in a proper manner. If it is not designed, then second thing is skill is not imparted, attitude is not given. And if skill is not given, then competency is not given. So outcome-based education is a process that involves the restructuring of the curriculum. If you want to ensure that, yes, whatever professional you have developed, that professional should be capable to do or justify his profession, then the curriculum should be designed accordingly. And for designing of that curriculum, what kind of teaching methodology should be used, that should be attached with that, and then how the students should be assessed and evaluated, so that assessment and evaluation can ensure that really the capabilities, competencies, and abilities have been given to the student. And there should be appropriate reporting process. If you want to report someone that this person is capable in handling the boiler. Most of the time in the mark list you will find, most of the time you will find in the mark list that marks are given, and those marks doesn't exhibit whether person is capable of doing that or not. So what is present status, current curriculum? In among our universities and educational institutions, we have been teaching a curriculum which was developed and devised about 3 4 5 years before. And some of the universities which are very old university, if you will go across their curriculum, they are using the same curriculum for the last 10 to 20 years. Friends, please see what has happened in the past during the last 10 years, what various kind of changes and advancement has happened in the discipline area, and that has not been taken into consideration. And if that has not been taken into consideration, then how it would be possible to impart the knowledge, the skill, or the attitude related to a profession? So there is the current curriculums need to be restructured or revised. And second is prescribed essentially rigid structure. Your structure should not be rigid, it should be flexible. It should be flexible in the manner of teaching, in the manner of learning. There should be autonomy to the institutions, there should be autonomy to the teachers in respect of teaching, in respect of advancement addressing system. And related to that, specified content and proportions. Here the specified content and proportion means, suppose you want to develop the curriculum for engineer, for manager, for doctor, then how much proportion should be decided for the conceptual or theoretical part, and what should be included in that. Second, how much skill part, capabilities part, or competencies part should be included in that. And third one, how many attitudinal parts should be included in that. That should be decided. Then little scope for flexibility. Presently, there is very little scope for flexibility. If you go to Google, if you go to Microsoft, if you go to top world level organizations, present day, these organizations are not dependent on educational institutions. They are hiring the BTech, management, or other professionals with just degree as a license. Otherwise, they are having their own training programs, their learning and development programs. And because of that, the present day organizations have become the learning organizations. And this is one of the example that flexibility of scope is there. If that kind of flexibility of scope can be given among the educational institutions itself, if you take example of your university, what kind of curriculum, what kind of programs you are running, if flexibility to the teacher is not there, but flexibility doesn't mean that teacher will bring anything. Flexibility in the sense, if a particular discipline is growing and developing, then in that case, what is role of the teacher, how that change can be addressed. And next part is, the curriculum was not designed to prepare student and graduates towards achieving the objective of the program. Basically, there are two words. One is objective. Objective can be anything. Other one is purpose. What purpose, what job a student is going to perform after completion of a degree program. If we check present day degree programs, you take up any degree program, you take up the degree program of psychologist, sociologist, managers, or anyone, whatever competencies we are acquiring during our training program in the educational institutes, those things are not sufficient to address when person is working in the organization. If someone has completed a psychology, MPhil psychology program and want to practice as a psychologist, person is not capable because those competencies have not been handed over to the student. Reason being, the curriculum was not designed accordingly, and the teaching methodologies were not appropriate. And on the completion or during the process of completion of the curriculum, regularly the student was not tested whether the student has got those capabilities or not. So this is the present scenario. Now curriculum requires restructuring and revision. We are talking from the beginning itself. So delivery method becomes more innovative. Now how curriculum can be designed, what should be done? Presently, how we are designing the curriculum, we are inviting one or two academician from outside, one or two academician from within the university, and one or two person from industry. They are sitting in the university and they are managing number of already developed curriculums, and out of that they are selecting some and designing the curriculum. This is not the appropriate way of curriculum designing. If you really want to design the curriculum, the process is very first identify the job sets. If I take example of civil engineer, then what various kind of jobs can be accomplished by a civil engineer? A civil engineer may be involved in the construction of roads, may be involved in the construction of dams, may be involved in the construction of other kind of building and resources, infrastructure. And these are different job sets. First there is need to identify the job sets, and once the job sets are available, then the job roles should be enlisted. What different job roles are to be accomplished by a civil engineer while working as a civil engineer for construction of dams, bridges, and likewise. Similarly, when a civil engineer has to work as a construction person for buildings, for roads, and other similar kind of things, then what job roles? And these job roles are not only the typical technical job roles. Each job needs job roles related to administration, related to management, related to the core activities, and related to HR even. So all these job roles should be identified. Suppose a professional can perform 5 different jobs. Then among those 5 different job roles, what are different sets of job roles? So identifying those job roles from these, now for performing these job roles, what kind of competencies are necessary? If you want to be an expert in drilling in the earth, erecting the column, if you want to be expert in that, then what kind of competency? And for that, this competency is again divided into what kind of theoretical knowledge, what kind of skill of drilling with the machines, skill of erecting the columns, what kind of skill is necessary, and while working on the job, what kind of attitude is necessary. So first you will identify the job sets, you will identify the job roles related to the different jobs you have included in the job sets. Now what kind of competencies are necessary? If you want to be driver and you are taking training for the driver, then what kind of knowledge is necessary, what kind of skills are necessary, and what type of attitude? If you are a public vehicle, public transport, state transport driver, then how you should deal with your customers, with your passengers. So for that, what type of competencies are necessary? So first, job sets, job roles, competencies. Now, what content curriculum is necessary for imparting these competencies? There is need to design that. And once you have developed the content, then how this content should be delivered. if you want to teach them the various symbols and signals to be understood by the driver, if you want to uh, develop a doctor and for conducting a surgery, what kind of body knowledge, what kind of skill for making a cut, for preventing the nerves, for preventing the blood vessels and veins, what kind of skills are necessary, how you can reach from the cut in the body to the kidney. If you will cut any vein, any nerve, what will happen? So all these competencies are necessary, and for imparting those competencies, what kind of knowledge, skill, and if you have categorized this much content of theoretical part is given to, and this much part of the skill is to be imparted, and this much, this kind of the attitude is given, then how it can be imparted? And one of the tragedy of present day academic system is that our teachers itself do not know, they are not well skilled and trained, they are not well skilled and trained in education execution of those processes, as well as they do not know which skill should be imparted by using what methodology. If knowledge can be imparted by lecture method, by presentation method, by demonstration method. Demonstration will include both the skill as well as, suppose you want to give training how to operate a machine, then it is not possible with the help of presentation and lecture method only. Demonstration, and it is not demonstration only, working on the machine. You will take your students to the, if I see the present day engineering institutions, on the name of workshop activities, on the name of on the job activities, the students and teacher both are very much reluctant. Majority of teaching and learning process is taking within the class. There can be two type of training programs, on the job training as well as off the job training. Majority of engineering, medical and other kind of education is being imparted. I will not say about the medical education, because for starting a medical education, there is need that there should be a hospital. A medical college can be started with the hospital only, and that hospital should have been having all kind of patients. But in case of engineering colleges, student is going for the internship after completion of their first year, second year, or third year, or they are going for training after completion of the third year for 6 months. But what kind of training they are taking? They are going to the organizations and they are just bringing the certificates. So on the part of the person has to become a technical expert, and technical expert of drilling, technical expert of operation of machine, technical expert of CNC operation machine. Or you take example of manager. Manager has to handle the human resource, manager has to handle the production, the complexities of resources mobilization and all that. But the whole process of teaching learning took place with just two methodology only, that is the lecture method and presentation method. And as a result of that, what kind of people we will develop? Because skill was, attitude was not at all imparted. So there is need to restructure. Now requirement, what is requirement? How it can be done? It can be done, the very first program must formulate the program outcomes. अगर मैं इसको हिंदी में बोलूं तो स्टूडेंट ने, या जो भी प्रोफेशनल हम तैयार कर रहे हैं उसने,
Response from audience side. There is a question, sir.
yes, I'm coming. Yes, please tell me what is question. Can you share that question?
For you, sir.
What is actually, it is not visible on my screen. What is question? Can you read out?
Curriculum must be updated every 10 years, but this is happening in Southeast
Your voice
Asia.
is your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking. Yes, strongly agree with this. Curriculum must be updated every 10 years, but this is happening in Southeast Asia. What are the reason behind this in your option, sir? Someone has asked this, I think. And not the curriculum should be updated after 10 years. Your curriculum should be updated as and when it is required. When I am talking that you should design your curriculum by identifying the job roles, and then the competencies related to that. If by the way some technology had changed, how we have been drilling in the past. I'm taking example of civil engineer again. How we have been drilling in the earth about 10 years before. The technology has totally changed. How we have been designing the metal by using CNC in the past. Now, presently, the technology has totally changed. And as a result of that, there should be continuous updating of your curriculum. Your organization, your faculty, your department should regularly watch and observe what is happening in the industry and how the industrial need can be addressed in the curriculum. I want to give you one example. I visited Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and some of the European countries in respect of their pedagogical method and curriculum development. Am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible? Presuming that I am audible, uh, someone can tell me whether I am audible or not. Someone can write a message because the moderator is not.
Yeah. Sir,
Yes,
sir, you are
yes.
audible, sir.
Okay, okay. So I was talking
Sir, you are
about
audible.
okay, the technology had changed, and I
I
was
am yes,
sharing.
sir, you are audible.
Yes, I was sharing with you one of my experience when I visited Germany and Switzerland. I visited one of the organization where only 28 regular teachers were there and more than 400 temporary teachers from industry have been visiting as teachers for the training of engineering students. I asked them that how it is possible and why you are doing that. Then the director of that institute told that we want to minimize the gap between the industrial need and kind of training we are imparting to the student. The people, those who are working in the industry, they are regularly, permanently working in the industry, but they are part-time or guest faculty to my institute. So they are teaching that part, what they are doing in the industry. And that is latest. I want to give you example of Sony TV. When LCD technology came, just in 1 year, Sony TV turned down manufacturing of tube TV. Now, if Sony TV has one of the renowned industry, if it has turned down manufacturing of tube TV, and you are teaching your students the same, and just in 3 or 4 years, the new technology of LED. So the LCD was replaced with the LED. Now, presently, majority of the TV manufacturing companies are using this technology. But what is our curriculum? And what methodology of teaching we are using? If we will not pay attention to that, then it is going to be a problem, and it would be very difficult for the student. So what is requirement? As I told you, that we should formulate the program outcomes that foster attainment of program objectives. And objective means what purpose a student is going to serve in the industry. If you have designed a curriculum program, that designing should be aligned with the need of job. If I talk about my university is Sri Vishwakarma Skill University. We are designing the program. Our team will visit the industrial campus, and there we will interact with the people there. We will note down what different jobs would be required by a person after completion of our degree program. Then the industrial people will share with us that, sir, they can perform this and this job. Once they will give the list of those jobs, then we will ask them what different duties, responsibilities, task, activities, or roles the person has to perform. We will get that. And after getting that, we will come back to our university. We will invite a team of experts on that. And these experts will help us to design the curriculum. And friends, I want to tell you, there is a lot of difference between curriculum and syllabus. Syllabus is what you are teaching in a particular subject. Curriculum is, it is process of molding, modifying a student, a raw student, into a professional. After completion of 12th class with medical sciences, competitive participating in the competitive exam, getting name in the merit list, a student gets admission in medical institute, and there the student is undergoing training for the long 5 years. And after completion of this long 5 year training, and I want to tell all of you, the student is not going for training in the classroom on. From the second year itself, student is being put up on the ward duty, in emergency duty, in treatment duty, in all kind of hospital duties. And during these 5 years, the student will attend the classes, will go on the job training, and after that, there is specialized 1 year internship where student will not go to any classroom, rather student will undergo training of all medical activities. So our skill university is designing program on the same way. Our students are taking classes for the first 6 months in classrooms, and then they are going for the OJT program, on the job train. We used to associate all our programs with industry. If we will not do that in the technical and professional courses, and we are providing human resource. Let us take example of plumber. A plumber who is working in the village and handling the petty activities of plumbing, number one. And a plumber or the engineer who was involved in the plumbing uh, activity of multi-storied building. There is one tower which is in Dubai. I forget the name of that. Burj Khalifa. So if someone engineer was involved in that, so we are having programs starting from level 1 to 10, and level 1 to 4 are the programs which are catered at school level. So my university has feeder school to PhD programs in any of, and how these curriculums are being designed, I have explained with you. Now, what are different approaches in implementing? If we talk about, I have shared a lot, and whatever I have shared, that will give you impression that there is need to modify the existing curriculum. but it should not be modified completely. Otherwise, it would be problem and lot of resources will be spent on that. So we can start gradually revising the courses and their content structure. And with content structure, suppose we are developing the curriculum. In the curriculum, we will develop how much part should be theoretical, how much skill, and how much attitudinal. And then for delivering this total, what kind of program scheme should be developed. We will develop the program scheme, and from the program scheme we will develop the program objectives. And program objective will, there are two words, program objective and program outcome. The program objective is that civil engineer should be capable to erect a column by drilling it into the soil. That is capability. For that, what kind of conceptual knowledge is required, what kind of skills are related, we will develop the courses. Just to clarify, program is the program name means program in civil engineering, program in program as a medical doctor, program as a chemical engineer, program as a human resource manager. These are the program. MBA HRM is a program. Civil engineering is a program. MBBS degree is a program. This is program. So first we will develop the program scheme. Program scheme means how many hours, how many credits, how many courses, and among courses, how many theoretical, how many practical, how many skill oriented, how many attitudinal. Developing and design that. And then each and every program will have, as I told you, that if you want to develop the program for civil engineer, then what should be the objective? Objective is what student would be doing or what this project will lastly, and outcome means whether though that objective has been achieved or not. And for the achievement, yes, of course, while designing the curriculum, we must introduce the innovative delivery methods and innovative assessment method also, right? Some of the concepts which are being practiced in the outcome based education are the program objectives. Program objectives are the broad statements that describe the career and professional accomplishment. After during completion of this program, what students shall be doing, that is program objective. What objective will be accomplished as a result of completion of a particular qualificational educational program. And in that, broad goals that addresses institutional and program mission statements should be included in that. And program outcomes means whether the person has really achieved the objectives or not. Now again, I want to go to the traditional. Yes, if you will go through the curriculum designed by the AICT, there is no problem in that. But when an engineer is passing out, when a manager is passing out, that person is not of use for the industry. Reason being, it was not ensured whether outcome has been attained by the student or not. And this was because either the curriculum was not designed properly or the curriculum was not delivered by using the appropriate methodology. If you want to make a person trained in designing, metal designing, then you need to take the student to the milling machine, to the lathe machine, to other machining processes. and the teacher should be standing there. But in the traditional courses, what is happening? Teacher is teaching with the white collar just in the classrooms. In the workshop, both are reluctant. They are not working. Basically, more than 60% time of an engineer should pass on the job training or in the laboratory or in the workshop. And they should be doing it there, or they should be involved in learning by doing. Teachers should be supporting them in learning how they can make a drill, how they can make a chalk of a tube, how they can make it the starter of a tube, how the tube is functioning, what kind of electric operations are happening in the generation of electricity, what are challenges, what are problems. So if a student is not imparted with that, and the student is not appropriately assessed, student is not assessed appropriately, you will find that student has got more than 75% marks, because marks were given in the theoretical concepts only. There was no appropriate method to check the skill imparting process. There should be a difficult process for evaluation of the skill part. So assessment and evaluation, if you want to know whether your civil engineer is capable to develop the appropriate strength in the column, in the cement, whether your doctor is capable to make cut and conduct the surgery, is that can be tested by pen and pencil or paper and pen test. For this, there should be a board, and person should be taken at the site, and person should be given opportunity to drill in the earth and to erect the column, and what level of strength of column was necessary, that should be tested on the job. If the student has developed that, only then industry would be ready to take that student. Similarly, on the medical profession, if this doctor has not learned how to make the cut, how to reach to the site of operation where surgical operation or surgical correction is to be made, this student should be taken. If I take example of medical education, this kind of thing is happening. I have been part of medical institution, and I saw that yes, doctors are given opportunities to do that. If I take example of IITs, among IITs students are given. If I take example of triple IT, NITs, and some of very good private as well as government institutions, but there are certain institutions which may be from government and private both sectors, which are not designing their curriculums appropriately, which are not delivering the curriculum as per need of or demand of that part. And lastly, there is gap in the assessment. Students are not assessed by adopting the proper assessment technologies. Suppose you want to assess the communication skills. If you will go for the IELTS test, they are performing that. They are performing that. Whatever are different rubrics means whatever are different dimensions of communication: written, verbal. In verbal, what are different? The thought development and all that. In written, what are different rubrics? All rubrics are developed similarly. What rubrics? Suppose you are developing a human resource manager, and for that, what are different rubrics? If those rubrics have not been tested appropriately, not evaluated appropriately, then candidate would not be of use. So how we can do that? Then how we can develop a curriculum which is appropriate for outcome based education. The very first thing is, what is vision and mission of the institution? We shall be surprised what is role of vision, mission of the institution in development of a professional. Yes, most of the time what we are writing 2 or 3 sentences. what kind of professional you want to develop, what kind, for whom, for which industry, and for which industrial work, because you are a training institute for various kind of courses from the social sciences. Even if you want to develop a student in political science, then person should be capable. Nowadays we are having a lot of hue and cry that our politicians are not uh, capable. And by the way, the job of a politician is governance of the country, which is one of the most important, significant, and vital role. And what kind of people are joining? Because the people, those who are taking training as a political science professional among universities and other institutions, they are taking that to become IAS, to become the teacher, and teacher from the primary level to any level. And the role of politician is ignored. So what is vision and mission of the institution? That vision and mission of institution should reflect in the vision and mission of a faculty of engineering. A university like yours university can have different faculties: faculty of engineering, faculty of natural sciences, faculty of social sciences, faculty of humanities, faculty of management, and faculty of other. These are different faculties. Now institute has a single vision and mission. Now each and every faculty will extract its own vision and mission, and by taking that vision and mission into consideration, now what kind of programs that faculty want to start, those programs will be identified by keeping that vision and mission into mind from the industry. And here industry means the organizations. And friends, I want to tell you, government is also one of the organization which might be the biggest organization of a country. That is also an organization. If you have to provide professionals for the governance, they must have that kind of training. So your institute's vision and mission, your faculty's vision and mission will reflect while developing the program, and that program will address the need of industry. So what is vision and mission of that industry? What is requirement of that job of the industry? All that should be taken into consideration, and what the student will perform, that will be taken as the outcome. And for performance of that, what kind of competencies, and to acquire those competencies, what type of courses. Here courses means the subjects, which subject should be included, and in a subject, how much of theoretical part, how much of the skill part, and how much of the attitudinal part should be included. And then deciding, number one, the program scheme, number two, the program objectives, number three, the program outcomes, number four, for developing that program comprehensively, or for developing that curriculum, what different courses are necessary. And once you have enlisted the courses, then among those courses, what course content, means what different units, and then your PEOs, POs, CEOs, COs, all that will be decided. So program outcomes, and that program outcome is a compilation, comprehensive collection of all different courses you have developed. If by the way there is mismatch, what role the professional has to perform while doing the job, if that role is not addressed appropriately by designing of your courses, by designing of your subjects, by appropriately teaching it, then it means there will be gap. And if there will be gap, industry will not be ready. And coming back to the learning outcomes, specify what learners' new behaviors will be after a learning experience. The simplest definition of learning is relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of experience. Relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of experience. And that experience may be because of any reason. You are observing the world. You are learning a lot by observing your parents. You are learning a lot by observing your teachers. You are learning a lot by observing the society. You are learning a lot by not only observation, what kind of experiences you were given while you were undergoing your training program. So, learning is relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of experience. So, whatever experience a medical doctor had during the training program and internship, whatever kind of experience an engineer had during the training program and internship, if it could not bring the new behavior means a raw student is taking admission after passing of 12th student and then undergoing the training, and this training is to modify the behavior with respect to performance of certain skills, expression of certain set of knowledge, and having a typical attitude for the performance of. If there is no change in that, and a number of times you will find, and for that there is wonderful example. Mercury is a metal, but it is liquid at room temperature. If you will put up your handkerchief in that liquid mercury for 10 days and then you will put it out, your hanky will be completely dry. Metal is not absorbed by the cloth, it would be dry. In the present situation, majority of training programs in which students are taking admissions, yes, they are qualified. All you know very well what students are writing in the answer sheets and how liberal we are. How liberal we are. We know very well student has not written the right answer. Student even doesn't know what is this concept, and we are awarding them degrees. And result is similar. The student was put up as a handkerchief in the liquid metal of mercury for 2 years to become a manager, MBA, engineer 4 years, doctor 5 years. But when the student came out after completion, nothing new was there with the student. So, if you want to ensure the learning outcome, your curriculum, your pedagogical method, your evaluative technique should be such that, yes, only those students will come out which have been ensured really a new behavior of engineer. Now they have become the engineer. And whatever assignment, problem, or challenge related to that will be given, it would be addressed by the student. And this can be ensured by testing the status of knowledge, skill, and attitude. Right? Now, learning outcome must be understandable. When you are designing a curriculum, I told you first you will design the program scheme, and from the program scheme and how you will develop the program scheme, I told you that you should take into consideration the jobs after completion of that program student has to accomplish, and the job roles student has, and then what kind of competencies have to be imparted to the student in respect of all the 3 KSAs. And once that has been planned, then evaluating whether those dimensions have been achieved, and the learning outcomes should be understandable, should not be very complex, complicated, should be measurable. I told you measurable means if you want to measure whether the designing capability of a mechanical engineering, you will take the student to the machining workshop, and there you will give a piece of metal. Suppose you want to develop a forging engineer. Forging is giving shape to the metal by softening it. So if you want to train an engineer in that, so you will take the student to the forge house, and there you will give the metallic piece, and you will ask the student to convert that piece into the desired shape. And for doing that, what kind of heating process and everything, whatever is required for that, that will be developed as a curriculum, and then that curriculum will be delivered accordingly. And how it would be delivered, I will share something very strange. If a teacher has to train an engineer for forging, then teacher should take the student to the forging section, and there he should teach to the student what kind of coal, what level of temperature, what kind of your furnace, whether you will need electric furnace, your coal furnace, what kind of furnace is required, all everything, and teacher will do that. But whether this is being done or not, if it is not doing, then teacher should be capable to measure it. If student was able to give this much of the shape, then what level of engineering should be given? And yes, of course, the learning outcome should be achievable, and your teaching learning process should be participant oriented, learner oriented. Your outcome based education is totally student centric. I want to talk a bit about student centric also. Student centric means, in student centric teaching learning process, the role of teacher is the role of just like a gardener. If a gardener want to grow certain fruit, certain vegetable, then what gardener is doing? Gardener is developing that kind of soil which is appropriate for the germination of the seed, growth of the seed, sprouting of the seed, then what kind of climatic conditions and everything will be ensured. But in case of teaching learning process, most of the time it is unilateral process. As I was asking in the beginning, that this session should have been a participative session. Reason being, I always teach by participative method, where students should be motivated. In the classroom, teacher is not only the resource. In student centric approach, the very first approach is the teacher's role is gardener's role, and gardener's role is to create the ecosystem where seed can be sowed, and seed can germinate, and seed can develop and grow, and seed can fruit of that type what we decided, and that type is outcome. If we decided that we need the Sahari arm of a specific quality, if gardener is capable to bring that kind of mango, only then gardening is successful. Similarly, the role of teacher is to mobilize the resources, and among those resources, the teacher, the kind of infrastructure, kind of technology, kind of student, and then involvement of the student. The seed is germinating, the seed is sprouting, the sprouted seed is growing. Similar kind of opportunity should be given to the students. Students should not be spoon-fed by providing the notes, by delivering the lectures. They should be given. The student should be used as a resource. Their mobile phone should be used as a resource. The multimedia available in the classroom should be used as a resource. This is student-centric approach. So outcome-based education is oriented to the participants' orientation. Now, what are the different domain of learning? Most of the time, the classroom teaching is involved in the cognitive process only. Hardly any classroom teaching. I'm honestly asking each and every participant, please think about it. What you are doing on the part of psychomotor. Psychomotor means if you want to train an engineer for drilling in the earth, for erecting the column, for forging of a metallic piece, for designing a metallic piece, if you need a doctor to perform a surgery, if you need a production manager to manage the production, then what kind of activities are necessary? Is it possible to share all those in the classrooms? So cognitive means what kind of thinking, what kind of imagination, what level of knowledge, what kind of conceptual ability, what kind of theoretical ability, how much that is required. So when you are designing your curriculum and when you are delivering, if you are designing the curriculum, then how much part is cognitive, how much part is psychomotor, how much part is behavior? So cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. Then how cognitive can be delivered, how so psychomotor can be delivered, and how affective can be delivered, and then how it can be ensured that knowledge has been attained by the student. And yes, skill has been. If you want to test the driving, तो उसको गाड़ी में बिठा जाओ. आपने अपने दोस्त को बचपन में मोटरसाइकिल राइडिंग, व्हेन यू गिविंग ट्रेनिंग फॉर द motorcycle riding, you took your friend to an open ground with a motorbike, and then first you gave training how a motorbike can be started, how your clutch, your brake, your accelerator and other functions are working, and how you have to handle the handle of your motorbike, and how you have to use your pedal for changing your gears and all that. First you gave this demonstration, and then you ask him to sit behind you, and you give a ride, and now you are sitting behind and holding your, and then you are giving training. Similar kind of psychomotor doing and skilling is necessary in any profession. That profession may be the profession of a chef. You take the chef to the kitchen and you tell them from knowledge point of view what is nature of what, and how a particular dish can be prepared. And then first you prepare it, demonstrate it, and then give opportunity to the students, and they will make certain mistakes, and after making the mistake you will correct them, and then in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 learnings your student will become capable. And then similarly for the behavioral part, already I have told you, if you want to develop outcome based education system, you need to understand your vision, and you need to understand the vision and mission of the industry, and with the help of that you will develop that. Then I want to address certain issues in the higher education. Accountability towards students. The whole accountability is towards students only. Nowhere it is tested what kind of teaching and was given to the student. So curriculum should ensure what is role of student and what is role of teacher. Only then outcome can be ensured. And yes, when we are ensuring the outcome, we should test whether our student would be able to satisfy the industrial need or not. Otherwise, what I told you in the beginning, that 2 to 3% people are skilled. Reason being, during the imparting training program, the appropriate knowledge, skill, and attitude was not given to the student, and now student is a misfit. Even after spending a lot of time, effort, energy, money, and resources. And another issue is maintaining academic standards. We are going for branding. We are going for the branding of academic institutions. Your student are your brand masters. Invest maximum on your students. And how it can be invested? Design and develop appropriate curriculums by observing the industrial working. Then develop the appropriate delivery methodology, and then develop the appropriate evaluative strategies, and then use them, practice them on the student, and allow only those students who have really got the training. There would be no need of any branding. film stars are being invited, lot many other things are being done, but emphasis on appropriate curriculum development, emphasis on appropriate teaching methodologies. And curriculum development means program scheme, program outcome, program objective, course objectives, course outcomes, right? And maintaining academic standards for accountable to grant providing organizations, as well as accreditation. Friends, after completion of your degree, you might be interested to go to England, you might be interested. If anyone taking a license of driving in India, that license is not acceptable in any of the foreign country. Reason being, license is given without any training. So if you are going for the driver's job in the foreign, they will not accept you. Reason being, you are not trained appropriately. And similarly with the engineers, now there is accreditation process. And what is that? It is related to the student intake, staff, teaching processes, assessment, courses, and facilities. Student intake means testing of the aptitude, whether student has got aptitude for the profession for which he is interested to take admission or not, and for that whether the qualification is there or not. Second, staff, what kind of staff is necessary, and what kind of staff means it is not only the teaching staff, what kind of assistive staff and the development of a profession. If you go to the medical college, then it is not the teaching faculty. There are different medical professionals who are supporting in the development of a doctor. Similarly, if you want to develop an engineer, then what kind of staff is necessary? And what kind of teaching processes? Already I have emphasized a lot on that. And yes, what kind of assessment? Assessment means what kind of evaluative techniques, so that it can ensure, as I told you, if you want to grow, the sari mango of very good quality, if you want to grow a very good engineer, then what is necessary for that? And whether your outcome, I want to tell all of you, there was agitation from the farmers in the past, and farmers are insisting on the MSP. Yes, MSP should be given, but there is very strange fact. More than 2 million ton of rice is lying in the warehouses of India, which is not acceptable by any foreign country. The quality of that rice is worst possible. Reason being, the appropriate methodology was not used in growing the paddy. And when it was evaluated, it was useless. Similarly, among educational institutions, we are developing that kind of rice, that kind of students. When they are assessed, they cannot perform. And for all that, there is need to update the courses, which I already, and yes, for execution, for training of a specific profession, there should be need of facilities or infrastructure that should be ensured. Now, why outcome based? Already there is one Washington Accord, and that accord was some of the countries involved in that they will standardize their training processes, and among these countries were Australia, Canada, Republic of Ireland, Hong Kong, Japan, New Zealand, Singapore, and other countries were also involved in that: Germany, India, Malaysia, Russia, and Sri Lanka. And reason was standardization of their training program, so that if someone Indian want to go to Australia, Canada, that person doesn't need to undergo training again. The curriculum, the teaching methodologies, and the evaluative techniques are standardized, and as a result of that, what I was talking, the outcome is acceptable to everyone. And if that is there, then following question will be addressed by the outcome based education. What do you want the student to have or able to do? Very first, you should decide, or you should Address the question what you want your student to do. If, by the way, your student has completed the program and even then he is not capable to do that, it is failure of your curriculum, it is failure of your deliverance, it is failure of your assessment. And this is not a standardized curriculum. And if it is not standardized, your student will not be acceptable anywhere, not only in India, anywhere. How can you best help student achieve it? How you can do that? You need to plan it, how your students can do it, how you can do it. Is not for the teacher. I told you that approach should be the gardener's approach. The teacher, you might be thinking that your responsibility is delegated. No, no, no. The responsibility will enhance. You have to create the ecosystem where student will become that what you want to make him, or what student want to become. Student will be doing that. Friends, becoming is impossible without doing. If doing is not there, majority of present day Indian institution programs are not involved with doing. There is minimum doing on the part of student. If there is minimum role of student in doing, student will not become that what professional he or she want to become. So next is, how will you know what they achieved it? This is testing. How you should have strategies. You need to rework on your curriculum designing, on your delivery methods, and yes, of course, on your testing methods. This paper and pen testing system is not appropriate. As I told you, what kind of technical, what kind of medical, what kind of professional, what kind of other training you are giving, there are different methodologies for evaluation. If you are giving training to a hair cutting expert, then you take a person and you give him opportunity. A person is giving that kind of haircut, what you desire to give, only then candidate. And this is not possible by testing. If you want to give capability to a chemical engineer for water testing, then what kind of different tests are necessary? The student should be able to conduct them appropriately and should be not only competent, should be proficient in that. Do you know what is proficiency? Competency, I am driving my car on the road. Proficiency is you go to a circus and there you see 3 cars and 2 motorbikes are being driven in the well of death. That is proficiency. So this is the difference. And how do you close the loop? How you will ensure that yes, whatever was planned to do, when I was talking about learning outcomes, now I told you that a raw student is taking. Now, what is that the modified student is? And yes, while designing an outcome-based education system, you must know who are your stakeholders, starting from your student, your institution, your faculty member, your government, your community. Your student is going to the community also, your industry. There are different stakeholders. What is their role? And what is role of student with respect to all these stakeholders? You must understand that. What services do we provide? What services means what kind of infrastructure and other services are necessary? Do constituencies understand our objectives? What services, facilities, and policies must be present? How do we measure our results? And yes, last one is how we can ensure the continuous quality improvement. Most of the time, once a student has completed a professional degree, he will stop learning. Present day is the day of consistent and persistent learning. Reason being, I told you in the beginning itself, there is need, there is continuous process of change and advancement. Presently, we are proactive in making changes. Lot many researchers are involved in bringing new and new technologies, and once some technology is coming up, This technology can be utilized. You see, take example of computer. Computer was basically developed for the defense forces. But now you tell me any discipline, starting from your embroidery, your farming, there is no field, no discipline, no subfield, no area where computer doesn't have intervention. And this is blending of the technology. And blending of the technology, friends, one thing I want to tell you, in the present day, we want to come up with the products and services which should have minimum cost but best quality. But there is reciprocal relationship between cost and quality. If you want to decrease the cost, quality will also decrease. But if you want to improve the quality, the cost will go high. But there should be certain strategies. Technology is an intervention. We can come up with such technologies which can, yes, of course, reduce the cost and improve the quality. And these are the question. This is the model. Curriculum, staff and faculty facilities, constituent requirements, develop objectives, then curriculum, staff and facilities. What type of curriculum, what type of staff, and what type of facilities? That will be decided by the program objectives. And then what type of teaching learning process, and then graduates with outcomes. And lastly, achieving the objectives. And this is a continuous process for continuous quality improvement. Implementation of OBE program, effective program educational objectives. Already I have explained. Practical assessment tools, effective assessment planning, robust evaluate planning, and CQI. ये मैं बता चुका हूं आपको लगभग सारी चीजें. कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ ओबी और प्रोग्राम आउटकम्स, एड्रेस, नॉलेज, स्किल, ये सब हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. दिस मॉडल, suppose you want to develop a program, whether 70% knowledge is sufficient and 30% skill and attitude, or how it can be divided to ensure to make it outcome based. 70% you are giving in the classroom and laboratories, and 30% student is going to the training place. So it can be designed. This is a kind of first year, second year, third year, fourth year of your degree program, equally divided every year, unequally divided in the present, majority of theoretical part, and lastly, the major part is your skill and attitude part. There can be different methodologies for designing the program. Now, program outcomes, we must talk a bit about that. Ability to acquire and apply fundamental principle of science and engineering. This is for engineering I have taken. It should have capability, communicate effectively. Every profession need a certain level of communication capability, and then technical capabilities, then formulation of problem and addressing them. Yes, every profession needs a certain kind of research oriented work. Why, what, how it is happening. So these dimensions should be taken into consideration. And then ability to work effectively as an individual. And person should be multi-skilled. Present day is the day of multitasking. Organizations are emphasizing on such professionals which are multitaskers. And yes, of course, wherever we are working, we should be well aware about the social structure, culture. Someone is working in the Saudi Arabia, someone working in the America, working in Bhutan, working in India, working in Russia. The cultural structure is different, and the environments are different. And accordingly, the responsibility, the role, the task, the activities will also differ. Right? Already I have explained. As I told you, that student should have active role. And every profession need to practice the ethical principles. Okay? different type of assessment. If you want to design a curriculum, then what kind of surveys you should conduct? Exit surveys. Exit means those who are leaving the organizations. Alumni survey, your passed out student, what kind of problems or challenges they are facing, so that those problems can be addressed in the curriculum. Employers, present employers, job offers, starting salaries, all these admissions to the graduate schools, performance in the group internship assignments, reports and tests, student surveys also. So these are some of the assessment tools by using which we can collect the information for outcome based education curriculum. And this is whatever I taught you, it was process of continual quality improvement. So this is all from my side. And by the way, I could conclude my session just 3 minutes before of my stipulated time. So is there any question? This house is open for the discussion. If you want to ask anything, you can put it in your chat box. And I think moderator is with us, and moderator shall be helping us in addressing your questions. So now the house is open for uh, addressing your questions, for discussion, for any kind of doubt clarification. So over to the participants. I am waiting for your doubts, discussion, clarifications, inputs, suggestions.
So there are some technical glitches. Thank
Okay.
you so much, sir. And I must say there are some wonderful responses from the audience for your speech and how you have delivered the.
I am also going through that, but I would be happy if some of the participants will ask anything, will share anything, and if there is any input, doubt for the clarification.
Sir, there was one question
Yes,
that
you are not audible.
a person he has asked that curriculum must be updated every 10 years.
Already, I
So am
have
I
a.
audible now, sir?
Yes, you are audible. I have already given reply to that question.
Okay,
Am
sir.
I?
Okay, sir.
Any other question? Someone, yes, Rachna Khanna want to ask something. Yes. Jocelyn Kaur is asking, sir. Sometimes teachers are involved in lot
Yes,
of
sir.
paperwork and not practical teaching.
So from Jasleen Kaur, yes, sir.
Yes. I have gone through the question, madam. Yes, Jasleen, you are right. But I want to share one thing. When I was discussing about various job roles of a job, na, if I am working presently, I am working as a dean of faculty, and which is topmost position in a university. And when I was at the lower level, or the level of assistant professor, likewise, I have been having similar kind of complaints or similar kind of challenges before me. But when I have reached to this status, I could know that whatever I did, there are three type of activities involved in any program. teaching program. Number one is curricular activities. Number two is co-curricular activities. Number three is extracurricular activity. If teacher is not participating among all these three type of activities, somewhere in the later age, in the beginning, we might be thinking that these are useless activities. No, each and every activity of academic institution should undergo the hands of a teacher. Only then this teacher will grow in the profession, and when this teacher will reach to the highest level, the maximum of activities will be the administrative and governance and leadership in nature, and minimum will be the teaching learning. Whereas in the beginning, the maximum of activities are the teaching and learning, and governance are minimum. So when professionally a teacher is growing from the assistant professor to the topmost position, all kind of activities teacher should be involved, and we should not have complaint with that. But we should not compromise with our teaching. On the name of paperwork, we should not leave our classes. For the teachers, class is the lifeline. Yes, we should work for rest of all activities also. So this is my suggestion, and specifically to the. Any other question? If I go through. Can please share your email? Yes, I will share my already my email has been shared. Actually,
Sir,
Dr.
Dr.
Tanu.
Maitri Chaturvedi,
Yes,
she's saying, sir, if you can please share your email for further communication.
yes, you can, and I think Dr. Tanu is
Yes, sir.
also will also be part of this session, na? So I have communicated already my email ID, and she can share with whosoever is in need of my and another, sir. But the problem in doing all the paperwork is that we do not find enough time for teaching and research. Now evidence based practice is of prime importance, which hardly happens. Yes, this can be in the beginning, this can be a challenge, but we need to adjust with it. We need to adjust with it, and we must create time slots where we can address the institutional need. If you will come to my university, I am taking three sessions, three different programs parallelly. There is a lot of administrative and paperwork, and that is demand of my job. I cannot deny that. So need is to rework on organization and planning of your life, and striking a balance between your work life and personal life. You need to work on it. Dr. Tanu is sharing that thanks, always welcome, and it is really because of you. You gave me opportunity. I am really thankful to Dr. Tanu. She initiated the process. Thank you, and she has been my colleague. She's a wonderful lady. Right. Anything else? I feel academia should lead industrial. Yes, this is really. I will appreciate Baljinder Kaur. You have wonderfully written. Reason being, uh, present day R&D has. If I go to the past, if I scroll back of academic past, R&D was part of academia, but presently the complete R&D has shifted to the industry, and the academia has become dependent on industry. There is need. I appreciate. I want to read it out. I feel academia should lead industrial R&D, curing product cost to lead in market access globe. Industry is, I told you that my university is a different kind of university. We are starting our programs by associating industry with that, and we are not involved in general kind of, we are involved in the PhD programs also. as per our PhD program, our research scholars will go to the industry, they will identify the problem of industry, and they will work in collaboration of the industry there as well as in the industry university to address the problem of industry. So I appreciate.
Okay, sir,
Yes.
sir, it was wonderful to have you. And now, sir, we need to wrap up the session.
Okay, okay. So
Yes,
thanks from
sir.
my side to the Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor of University, as well as the organizing team of this program. And special thanks to Dr. Tanu. She invited me and she gave me opportunity. So thank you very much from my side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we can close the session now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank